going to go around the circumference at once. I already know because it came out shorter, but I can always connect it, because when the pies are ready, they're definitely not going to show that you had some connections going on. So yeah, you can just, you can do what I'm doing like this. The end game is to make sure it's all well covered. So yeah, so after doing this, right, okay, after doing this, I have some left over. I have this bulge here, so I'm trying to make sure it's perfect. So after doing this, so this is what we have right now. So at this point, all you need to do is just to set this aside, get a bowl, and then you can just measure out about, trying to get the measurement by this quantity of bowls. We could just work with about half cup of the diced apples. So this is what I'm doing now. So you just simply pour this into the bowl. It wouldn't be enough. I just take a little more like this. This is going to be almost about 1 cup, and then you just simply get your ground cinnamon in no particular measurement. Just add a little bit, and toss it lightly. The reason why you are doing this is because you cannot add this to the sauce. If you add it to the sauce, it's going to have like a dark golden, unappealing appearance when it's ready. You want that golden look. So for you to still not get rid of the cinnamon aroma, you add it into the apple, so it oozes out when it's baking. So all you need to do is, now you can either just use your gloved hands to put this in, or you can just simply spoon it with your spoons. So it goes in. This is the first one. Go in. So obviously this isn't going to be enough, so this is the second one. This is going to do just about 3 here. So the good thing about it is it doesn't have any peculiar ingredients, so once it's not enough, all you need to do is just take some more, and repeat the process. Something like this. Just add some cinnamon, toss it, and you fill up the last cavity with it. I don't know if this is very clear. And by the way, I do not like to peel my apples because I want the very essence of the apples to come out with the skin and everything. It's not going to matter anyways, but I don't like taking out all of those because I see that it's very important. So after doing that, this is the first step. So the next and the final step, or the almost final step, is to dust this off now and try to work this out on a lattice crust. When I mean lattice crust, this is similar to rolling this out in a thin sheet and cutting strips out of it, similar to what you would cut when you're trying to cut chin chin. So you're gonna pat it very, lightly, and then you just simply add up some flour because you want it to be able to go easily. And then for the more flour you add, the smoother it is going to get, just like this. So you're going to roll it out smooth like this. So what you need at the end of the day is just about 6 per sheet. So we need about 6, 12, 18, 24. So what you're going to do now is you just cut this out like this. Try to get your hands steady so that they can all have equal sizes. So that it can look appealing when you are done. So this is what I'm trying to do now. Okay. So this particular bit cannot be used because it doesn't have even sides, same as this. So I'm just going to basically try and eyeball the size and cut off all these edges like this. Alright, and after doing that, I'll just cut this into 2 equal sides, just as I am doing now. So this should serve about 2 to 3 of what we have here. So what we're going to do now is you just pick one like this. You're going to pick one of these like this and place it over the baking dish. You're going to take another one and just place it across it, just the way I'm doing here. And then you're going to go again with the third one, like you're trying to weave it. That's why I call it lattice work crust. And then you put the last one just like this. You know, it is elastic though, so it would stay well. That one is too short, so like this. So you can always cut off any excess. So this is what it looks like for the first one. For me, and always add one extra to seal up and make it look very nice. Alright, so this is what it looks like. And so we're repeating the process for everything. So I'm just basically doing the same thing again. I think I have one more to go. By the way, at this time, my apple pie filling is already ready and simmering. So all I need to do is just to get it, for use off the heat once I'm done prepping this. So we're done with all the lattice work now. And so what we're going to be doing now is just to let me get the apple pie filling that I'm going to be drizzling right over it. This is what it looks like without having the caramel like coating. And then all I need to just do is just to drizzle it gently over it, something like this, because this is made out of sugar and you really don't want it to really touch the edges so that it doesn't fasten up once it dries, and then makes it very difficult to bring it out. So what I always do is just to use the spoon to seal up the pastry work on top of it. And immediately this is done, we're going to remove it from the pan before it starts to caramelize inside of the pan. So that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to repeat this process. This is going to bake for about 30 minutes, and because they're the mini ones, the bigger ones bake for longer times, probably like 45 to 50 minutes, but these are the smaller ones, so the heat passes in through faster, and then they bake up really faster. This is what it all looks like, and I'll be baking this up at approximately 30 minutes to 5 minutes until the surface is light golden brown, and then the sauce is bubbling out to show that the apples are thoroughly cooked. So I'll be back to show you the results while we do other things. We're making the brownies now. This apples is going to be used for the apple crumble later. So now for the brownies, it's basically a throw it all in kind of technique, but you're going to use the cooking style. It doesn't require any mixers or blenders or anything. You cook on the heat to caramelize the sugar together with the alcohol inside of it, and as well as the butter. Alright, so it's like a thin caramel bubbling, and then you then add other ingredients as we go on. We're going to be working with a 7-inch square pan already buttered and lined with the parchment paper to ease it out, to ensure it comes out easily. And so the first thing we're going to be doing is to add the sugar. Yeah, this is the sugar. We add the sugar into the bowl. We go in with the butter now. Salted margarine precisely, and then I'll be going in with 2 tablespoons of this coffee liquor. Any good brand is just fine, but I'll be using this brand. I've been using it for a while now, so I will be using 2 tablespoons of that, which is 1. So it is that alcohol that's going to serve as the liquid inside of it, and it's going to. So I'll take this over the heat and bring it back to show you what it looks like when it's all bubbly, and then we'll continue the process. Okay, so at this point now, this is what it looks like just when it comes out from the heat. And then I'm going to be adding, this is the chocolate chip, 2 cups. I'm going to be adding just almost 2 cups and leaving about half to pour in at a later time, so that it would have like a chocolate chip effect until it's all clumped up together, more like it's seasoned. That's to show you that the reaction is taking place accurately. So it's going to seem like all those chocolates that seize or are overheated, just like this. So this is where we get to. if your brownie recipe is good, you have to always have something like this at the early stage. So after doing this, after it comes to this kind of consistency, you then add one large egg into the mix. Immediately you mix in your egg, the mixture is going to become elastic immediately because of the presence of the egg yolk in the mix. And you have to mix it quickly so that you don't cook the egg with the trapped heat in the chocolate. So you have to mix it very vigorously on time, but you don't stop mixing until all the clumps have dissolved right back. And then when you lift up your turning stick or your wooden spatula, whatever you are using to mix it, it's going to have an elastic result. So that's what we have here. You can see how elastic it is. It has to be elastic like this. So moving on, at this point we're going to be adding the vanilla flavor, which is going to be 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavor. I didn't measure that ahead of time. So 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavor, either the light or the dark. I always prefer the richness of the dark, so that's what I always use. I set this aside and just give this one a very light mix. At this point you don't want to over mix it anymore, so you don't toughen the batter. It typically comes off looking very small because they are always very flat. So after this, now just combine your flour, a bit of flour, 2/3 cups of flour, together with your baking soda, together with your baking powder. That's why I closed it, because you know air isn't supposed to get in, and together with the salt. All measurements will be listed out. So all you need to do is just pour this into your mix all at once, and then leave just a little bit like this to pour in the remaining chocolate chips, to coat it lightly so that it doesn't all sink at the center. So when you are done with that, just give it about 1 or 2 sweeps with your wooden stick, after which you clean that out so you avoid over mixing it, right? You take that out, and then you start to fold it in, right? So you do this till all the flour, dry ingredients basically, is all blended in, and after that, or almost blended in anyway, something like this, and then you add up the remaining bits of the chocolate chip coated with the flour. Dust it in to make sure all of the flour is, or it doesn't use a lot of flour, so you don't want to run it short again. So just fold this about 2 to 3 times to get it blended in, and your brownie batter is basically ready. So at this point, all you need to do is just scoop this, because it's not going to pour itself, because it's not runny, it's a thick clump. So you pour this in. First of all, you try to dust off the pan with some flour, just make sure that you don't have any casualties or coming out, despite the fact that it's already dusted off and lined with the paper. Brownies are very delicate, so just dust off every excess, so to look just like this. And then you just end up scooping this into the pan. And just because it's chocolate, do you know that if you leave it just sitting undisturbed in a chilled room, it's not necessarily going to bake up because of the eggs? You don't have to cook eggs, but it's going to actually firm up and seem like it's all baked, but it still needs the heat process. But it bakes up really fast in approximately 25 minutes, 23 to 25 minutes. The brownies will be ready. All you need to do is just chill it a little bit so that it can come out of the pan, and then you can see the beauty of it. So we're not done. So the part where it gets interesting is you can already see that whilst I'm not even done spreading it, it's already trying to form into something like a thick clump of chocolate. Yeah, so you're the one that will manually use your palette knife, spatula, spoon, anything to spread it, because however it stays in the pan is how it's going to be. It doesn't rise, it doesn't change in shape. So if you don't distribute it well into the bottom of the pan, it's just going to remain like that once it is baked. So here, this is where it gets a little bit more attractive. So for the chalk nuts feature that I always have, all I do is just to add up some extra toppings on it because it bakes up together. So I work in no particular order. I use cashew nuts, I use coconut, and make sure I spread it all very evenly around all the sides, because so that when it's time to cut it up, whoever is getting a bite, would have a feel of every bit of nut that is, stuck on the surface. So after doing that, I then go ahead to add up some Oreo biscuits, Oreo cookies, but ensure to make the Oreo biscuit face down, but don't take out the butter or the sandwich, rather just use it all the same. It's going to add to the richness and the fudginess of the brownies when it is ready. So this is what I am doing. This is what I'm doing. So I will take some that are not with the sandwich and just put it over it so that it can look really interesting and very fudgy. Yes, because the fudginess is very important. It's not a typical brownie is not supposed to be fluffy. It's not supposed to be like a cake in any way. It's supposed to be cookie like, fudgy, dense, and you can literally feel your teeth mark if you bite into it, because it's not supposed to even break apart in any way. So, and then the last thing is to add some extra chips on top of it. Note that all of this will actually get stuck to the dough when it's all baked in the heat. So that's when you appreciate it better. So that's where we are now. Okay, all right. And so once this is done, this is what it looks like. I will be popping it into the oven for the set mark of time. So a little extra here and there, so you just try to press it in a little firmly so that it doesn't detach. So yeah, that's what we have now. So you can just add a little more of this to just give it a lighter effect. And this right here is what it looks like when you call it the chocolate brownies. So I'll be taking this into the oven and I'll be bringing it back at exactly 25 minutes because it will be ready by then. To make the apple crumble, so you are basically going to be needing flour. For the dry ingredients, I'm going to be needing flour because of time. I already combined everything together. Flour, ground cinnamon, salt, and baking powder with the all-purpose flour, of course. And then you're going to be needing some chopped apples, as you see me have here. You're going to be needing 2 eggs. You're going to be needing ½ cup of brown sugar and ½ cup of white sugar. I combined it together. You're going to be needing 1/3 cup of oil, vegetable oil, and then you're going to be needing 1 teaspoon of vanilla oil. So at this point now, what I'm going to be doing now is to first of all combine all this together, all right, and just set it aside. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'll add the sugar into the bowl like this, followed with the oil immediately, and then I'll add the eggs at the same time. So like I said, it's a throw it all in kind of technique. And of course I'll be adding the 1 teaspoon of vanilla immediately. This is 1 teaspoon, yeah, immediately.